Let's talk money.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Money. I'm your host, Surabhi Upadhyay. Well, vacation time is here and maybe you're thinking of going on a summer holiday. Okay, I'm not testing my singing skills here and maybe the Gen Z wouldn't have guessed it, but the oldies would have definitely guessed that song. The short point is it's that time of the year when families are planning getaways with their near and dear ones. And today we are here to help you take smart control of your travel finances and address any queries that you may have with respect to holiday planning. Well, joining me to do this today are Sabina Chopra, co-founder of Yatra.com, and Sanjiv Bajaj, the joint chairman and MD at Bajaj Capital. Lady and gentlemen, it's great to have you here. I am very excited personally about this subject. It's a little more colorful than just looking at insurance or taxes and the right funds. And I think it's the right time to have this conversation. So first, let me ask both of you whether you're avid travelers, if you've checked off your travel plans for this year. Sabina?
An avid traveler, already checked off, have been to 3 destinations this year, and has just come back from a holiday in Greece.
I'm envious.
Back by the humanitarian. But beautiful weather in Europe. It's been amazing. And yes,
the wonder, I can already feel the wanderlust. Sanjeev, what about you?
This time I'm planning to do something different. So I'm planning Japan and Korea. So I thought we always go to Europe and US. Why not, look at the other side of the world? So this time, so I'll be going next week to Korea and Japan.
Fantastic. Well, sounds good. And I think it's the right note to begin on because the purpose of this conversation is to give our viewers some advice, some tips on how to, plan smartly when it comes to travel, how to take charge of your finances, how to look at budgeting, and how to look at what's happening in the marketplace right now in terms of realistic pricing on flights, on accommodation, and then, plan that dream vacation. So, Sabina, I want to kick this off by getting a reality check really from you in terms of the top destinations which are in, hot favor, as well as the pricing. We'll get to pricing later, but what about destinations? What's popular now?
So I'll divide the question into two, which is domestic and international separately. So for domestic, of course, we've had the hills as normal, always. It's in demand during the summer season. And of course, Goa is 24/7. So it's 12 months a year where you get demand throughout the year now. But however, now, because we are in mid-season, the demand now has a little change because most of the hill stations are quite full at the moment. So the bookings that are coming in right now are Kashmir, Kerala, Himachal, Uti, Chardham, Pondicherry, and even if I may say, a few bookings coming to Rajasthan, also Jaipur, where people are driving from Delhi and just staying in Jaipur for overnight because they've not been able to get their bookings. So these are the demands that we are seeing domestically. It's mainly towards the hills. And of course, as I said, Goa is always there. But when I talk about international, this time I've seen Europe and Eastern Europe coming up like crazy. It was just, the demand has been simply fantastic. But because now we are again in mid-season, so the demand now is coming towards Thailand, to Vietnam, Mauritius, Singapore, Bali, and of course Sri Lanka, which is our neighbor. So we've seen now demand shift changing because we are in mid-season now, and visas will be slightly tougher to get for European countries. So we see the demand going towards Southeast Asia, which is, as I said, Thailand is the number one, and of course very closely followed by Vietnam for these countries.
How interesting. I see, a reflection of my own self, someone who hasn't planned in advance, who's probably thinking Europe is out of question. Should I look at Southeast Asia? This is really close home, the points that you're making.
I'd like to take on Sanjeev's request from there on when he said Japan. He's going to really enjoy Japan. It's a beautiful country. I've been there a couple of times, many times rather. It's beautiful. You'll be taken aback. So that's, of course, we need to sell that also pretty well. And I think customer demand is a little lesser in Japan because of it's an inexpensive destination, but it's one of the most beautiful destinations in Southeast Asia, really.
Okay, really? So we've got plenty of options. The question is, do we have plenty of money? And Sanjeev, the answer to that is usually a big resounding no. So now let's get down to the basics in terms of just deciding on a budget. I mean, you can have a 7-star vacation running into lakhs of rupees to do a shoestring backpacking budget tour. The question is, how does a person decide what is right? How do you decide on that budget allocation without blowing up your investments or your savings plan?
Yeah. So what you need to do is you need to first understand is that what do I want? Do I want luxury or do I want to see the destination? Now, this is where I feel a lot of people make this mistake. They'll want the most luxurious hotel in Italy, and yet they want to spend the whole day sightseeing and they'll probably spend only sleeping in the hotel. So at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense. If you want a luxurious hotel, there are many more options available and which will be closer, cheaper. You don't have to go that far. So unless you have a lot of money, then you can do both. But for me, it is about prioritizing. If it's about the sightseeing, going around, there are some very, very good 3-star, 4-star hotels available today. These are basic hotels like Marriott has this chain called Moxie, etc., which are basic, nice, beautiful rooms, do it yourself. And they are available at about probably $150 for a premium traveler, and these are 4-star hotels. And similarly, you can get anything between $50 to $100 also, and then you can go to the Ritz Carltons and Four Seasons and spend $500-600. So for me, it is about choosing your destination, choosing what appeals to you, being different, planning in advance, and on the financial side, saving for it. A lot of people will borrow money to travel. Now that's a double whammy because you will borrow the money and you will pay 14-15 interest because those loans are treated as personal loans. These have very high interest rates. Don't do that. So plan, save for your investment, save for your travel, do a mutual fund SIP. Okay, this SIP is for towards my travel, and this is where I want to go. Like the Europeans, and book 6 months in advance. Like if you're going to Europe, the same hotel you can buy for $200, same hotel you can buy for $1,000, depending on when you book. Same is with the air tickets, same is with everything else. So just plan in advance. We as Indians need to start planning in advance. Also, let's have a good travel credit card. They are normal cards charge between 3 to 5% on every spend. A travel card will probably charge you 1.5% to 0% on travel charges. So choose a nice travel card which is meant for your travel, so you earn points while you're traveling. So these are the few things that you need to keep in mind, and also
So you
just
know
go
what,
by your.
Sanjeev will take all of this step by step because I do have those questions in mind, how to be smart with Forex and how to look at travel insurance. We'll get to all of it bit by bit. It's a good note to start on. But Sabina, now the reality check. I mean, you've told us about demand and destinations. What about pricing? And we all know that the world is traveling like never before, right? So what is the kind of average increase that we're seeing in fares, in hotel accommodations? Again, I mean, break it up, domestic, international, etc. So how do we, if someone wants to be prudent and judicious in terms of planning, they should know where the price increase is really biting and where perhaps they can still look at.
See, what I saw, the European flights, so the flights to Europe were pretty reasonable in terms we could book it till March, but from March onwards, the price, there's been a substantial increase in pricing across Europe because but Eastern Europe is still affordable. If you feel that, Budapest or Hungary, you can still reach there, but visas is again a challenge there. But across the Western Europe side, there has been a huge hike to almost a 15% increase in pricing across across Europe. We've seen, if I see Southeast Asia, there's been a 5 to 10% increase there, but a Thailand is still affordable. You will get it in 30,000, depending on the flight that you want, a return flight just to Bangkok and back. But you'll get it in, if you go to with a low cost carrier, you may get it in between, 25,000, but 30,000 is an average if I talk about Southeast Asia, which is still very affordable in terms of, I'm talking about May, June. These are the times. But Europe is slightly, I would say, there's no point looking at a price increase, even if you get a flight, because visas will be a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I was to break it domestically, there has again been an average increase in pricing across the flights and hotels in various geographies. However, in business towns, like a route like a Delhi to Ahmedabad or Mumbai to Bangalore or Delhi to Hyderabad, the prices have been stable. So across business cities, the prices has been stable. But if I talk about, a sector going to Kashmir or going to Kerala or going to Shimla, you're taking a flight to Chandigarh or whatever, there's been a substantial increase, almost from 15 to 20% is the price increase in these sectors. In contrast, which I find it a little, Leh has been priced at was priced higher also and remain constant throughout. So Andaman and Leh, we've not seen a significant change in the last couple of weeks. It's still as it was in the same levels that it was in April and June. So that's something that people could look at, and see that those flight sectors. So as I said, business cities in India, no increase. Leisure destinations, yes, an increase, but an exception being Andaman and Leh, where we've seen no increase coming on. Of course, Europe, Southeast Asia, still very affordable because the number of flights there the frequency is pretty good, so you'll still get flights there. But Europe would be, at this time, visas can be a little tight because there'll be a massive rush. And flights, while you may get a reasonable price to Eastern Europe, but try your luck at the visa first before you book a ticket or book a refundable and try for a visa.
I think that's a great tip, exactly, because you don't want to be left disappointed and financially hamstrung in case that visa is not coming through. Just very quickly, Sabina, another 10 seconds on hotel costs as well. I mean, what's the average increase that we're seeing? Again, it'll vary region to region, but any ballpark numbers?
It would be an increase of about, when I talk about the summer season, between 20 to 25% increase in the hotel tariff in the hill stations. But Goa has dipped a bit as such because it's, it is hot and you're not seeing that demand. Rajasthan, the pricing have really dropped. So it depends on the season, these cities that are in demand. So the hills, including the hills, would be increasing up to 25%. But when I talk about the warmer destinations like a Rajasthan or Goa, either the prices are stable or in Rajasthan, the prices have reduced a lot. Kerala, again, this is the best opportunity to pick up a flight, to pick up a hotel there because the prices are stable there. So you pick up if you are adventurous. So Kerala is something that you can look at also.
And the monsoons are arriving, so maybe it's not such a bad option at all. Okay, got it. So now that we have a sort of a lay of the land in terms of flights and accommodation, the question is, how do we budget for this? Because clearly, a last-minute trip planning for summer vacations is going to be a bit of an expensive affair. We actually have a viewer joining in with a question along these lines. Philip is with us on the show now. Philip, hi. Welcome to Let's Talk Money. How can we help you?
Hi, this is Philip. I'm looking to go to Europe next year for a trip of about 2 weeks. I just wanted to know how I can budget my entire trip. I can save around 15K per month. Wanted to get your opinion on this.
All right, Philip, I must congratulate you for being smart enough for looking at next year's trip right away, right now, and not doing last-minute stuff like, what I'm thinking of. So, Sanjiv, let me, if you could advise both categories, people who are looking at last-minute deals and what perhaps they could keep in mind, but more importantly, someone who's being systematic about it. Now, here's Philip, who's got a one-year runway to plan. What is the best way to accumulate this corpus?
So I think starting a SIP as he wants to for 15,000 rupees is very, very good. So Philip, I would say choose a nice flexi cap or choose a large cap fund which doesn't have too much of a risk, yet will give you a decent return. If you want to be conservative, maybe pick up a balance advantage fund and start your SIP. And also start planning your hotel bookings sometimes in Jan. Because, Europe is all about booking in advance. And also be very clear that where all do you want to go? 6-8 months before you will get your hotel reservations. Try to book hotel reservations with flexibility. And that is possible. Book your air tickets in advance. And I think, with a budget of about 2.5 lakh rupees, you can have quite a decent trip in Europe for 2 weeks. Obviously, it won't be too luxurious. And we haven't asked you how many members in the family, but I'm assuming 2 people. You can have a very good trip. Look up TripAdvisor and go with, sort down on the travelers ranking. So you are able to find gems of hotels, which may not be in the top 10, but in the between 10 to 40, where you can locate very nice hotels, very nice accommodations at quite a reasonable price. I'll recommend take a travel card, like, we have the Tiger credit card, or there are other travel cards where have very low charges on international spends, so that when you go, you don't have to bother carrying too much currency in your pocket, because that's also a major risk. And also try to go for different destinations. So point is that in India, everybody wants to go where everybody else is going, and those destinations become very expensive. So be slightly innovative. See, do I like nature? Do I like cities? What do I want? And choose a destination which is upcoming, and you'll save a lot of money. So you'll probably have a much better holiday than if you choose probably a Rome or Paris, which are very, very popular destination. But if you say, I want to choose Croatia or something else, you can have a much better holiday on the same budget.
Valid inputs, and I think great to keep that in mind. We do have to take a very quick break on the show. We'll come back on the other side, and then we, of course, have to talk about travel insurance. You need to be cautious and you need to be prudent when you're undertaking your travel expenses. So we'll come back and discuss that after the break.
Let's talk money